Ezra Levant here for the Rebel.media. Our special website, rebelisrael.com, is where you can find all our videos from our journalistic mission here. As you can see, I'm standing in Israel. The Israeli flag is right behind me. But that city of that megalopolis of 2 million people, that's the Gaza Strip. There's different cities and towns within the Strip. It starts over there, and it goes all the way down to where you see the smoke down there. That's actually the Egyptian border. Egypt doesn't want Gaza. I mean, they're Arabs. All the Jews were pulled out by Ariel Sharon in 2005. Complete autonomy there. There's not a single Israeli soldier or anything in there. Egypt doesn't want that. And in fact, the Egyptian president has a blockade on his border. Every day, 2,000 containers full of food, medicine, construction materials come in on the Israeli side. That berm there, that earthen berm, is approximately where the border is. So you can see that there are Israeli farms that go right up to the border, and then there are Palestinian farms right on the other side of the border. Those towers over there, those modern-looking apartments, were built by Yasser Arafat for the PLO officers. When Hamas took over, they threw the PLO officers off the rooftops in a dramatic display of alpha male terrorist dog dominance. And now they're Hamas officers there. We've heard a lot about how Gaza, which is now wholly owned by the Palestinians, I mean, it could be a Dubai. Theoretically, that could be the Hong Kong of the region. And why not? They've got 2 million people compared to other countries. I'll just pick Sudan out of the blue. They're very well educated. They have the full attention and love of Europe and the West. If they were run by even a benign dictator, which is pretty much the best you're going to do in the Arab world, they could be prospering. But instead, they're run by gangsters who not only terrorize their own people, but instead of building a mini state or a city state like Singapore, they choose to attack Israel. Obviously, the kibbutzes, the agricultural communities here, but even the city of Sderot, in which we were. And even if the thousands of rockets and mortar shells that are lobbed by Gaza into Sderot and communities, even if they don't actually kill anyone 99% of the time, the terror that has gripped this community over the last 10 years is shocking, because you don't know in advance if a mortar or a rocket is going to kill someone, hit a bus, hit a school. So they all have to be treated as a real alarm. There's no false alarms around here. There's just rockets that miss. So 10,000, 15,000 times over the last 20 years, every school child, every mom, every hospital goes into lockdown mode. They call it Code Red. And depending on where you are, you got 15 or 10 seconds to get into your bomb shelter. It's that constant state of trauma. I think any other self-respecting country in the world would demolish that place. But Israel does not. Israel ships in those containers of food, even construction materials that are surely being used to build tunnels. That's the new tactic. Israel's deployed the Iron Dome anti-missile system to knock down some of the larger rockets. So the Palestinians have gone under, building underground tunnels as long as 3 kilometers in. And they've done this. They've popped up with terrorist attacks. In the past, they've taken hostages back into Gaza. Just a complete horror show. And imagine being a child in these communities and living with that terrifying terror. It's amazing that this community still survives. I don't know how it can. It certainly has more courage and stamina than most Western countries. And it's just a reminder that Israel plays by Marquis de Queensberry rules that no other country would. I mean, you know how Vladimir Putin treated Chechnya and Grozny when he had a Muslim uprising there. He flattened it. And let alone how other Muslims handle Muslim uprisings. Just look at Syria, 500,000 dead. Every single country in these parts just massacre their problems. I find it very frustrating, because talking to an IDF spokesman here, Israel Defense spokesman, he says they know the next attack is coming. They know there are tunnels being dug right now. 100 meters below ground, 3 kilometers. They know it's happening. They just don't know where they're going to come out. They know a massive attack is coming, but because they're a democracy and because for some reason they submit to the will of the United Nations, and for the last 8 years, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and John Kerry, they don't go in aggressively. It's a troubling visit. I think the most troubling we've had on the trip. You saw another interview, I hope, Sheila, with a dad who has 3 kids, and he told how each of them has their own way of dealing with the trauma and stress of always looking, where's the closest bomb shelter? Anyway, that's my report. We've also had reports from the same location by Gavin McInnes and Faith Goldie, and of course Sheila when she was in the town of Sderot. I encourage you to watch those. It's very interesting to be out here, and as I come back to Canada, I'll keep in mind what it's really like here. And I think the greatest enemy is not the Palestinian people. I don't even think most Israelis believe that. And I don't even think it's the Hamas terrorists or their foreign funders. I think it is the political, diplomatic culture of the West that is so supine and appeasement oriented, and that makes Israel live up to standards that even the United States and Canada would not abide. That's my view. For the Rebel Media here in Israel, I'm Ezra Levant. That's the latest video from our trip to Israel. For all our videos and to chip into our crowdfunding to pay for this trip, please go to rebelisrael.com.